So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by going through the magic square that was on slide 3 to see if you were able to get all the correct answers and to understand where the numbers came from. So if you start by trying to find a missing number, you're looking for any row, column, or diagonal to see if it has a sum of 15. So if there's 2 numbers in the row, column, or diagonal, those are going to be the easiest ones to start with. So I'm going to start here with the 2 and the 9. If I add 2 plus 9, that's going to give me 11. So to figure out what number is missing to add to 15, I'm going to subtract 15 minus 11, which is 4. So this number down here is going to be 4. I'm going to check to make sure it adds up to 15. 2 plus 9 plus 4 does equal 15, so I'm going to put a little 15 at the bottom there just to make sure that I know that I've already checked that column. So now I'm going to continue to look for rows or columns or diagonals that have 2 numbers in them to try to find the third number. So I'm going to look at this diagonal. I know I have a 6 and a 4, which makes a 10. So if I subtract 15 minus 10, I'm going to get 5. So I know the middle number here then is 5. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check that diagonal. 6 plus 5 plus 4 is equal to 15. I'm just going to put that number right there in the corner to make sure that I know that I've checked that diagonal. Again, to find other rows, columns, or diagonals that are going to add up to 15, I'm looking for 2 numbers in the row, column, or diagonal. So maybe I'm going to choose this row here. 6 plus 2 is 8. 15 minus 8 is 7. So I know that missing number is 7. I'm going to check to see that that adds up to 15. So 6 plus 7 plus 2 does equal 15. I'm going to put that number right there. And now I have a lot of options to try to find some of those last boxes. So the first one I'm going to do right here, I'm just going to keep going down my rows. 9 plus 5 is 14. So 15 minus 14 is 1. So I know there's a 1 that's missing there. Again, I'm going to check. 1 plus 5 plus 9 is 15. I'm going to place a number there to know that I've checked that. Looking again, that last row only has 1 number, so I can't do anything there. But I can look at my columns now. 6 plus 1 is 7. 15 minus 7 is 8. So I know that the missing number in this box is 8. When I add 6 plus 1 plus 8, I get 15. This column right here, 7 plus 5 is 12. So if I subtract 15 minus 12, I get 3. I'm going to check to make sure that works. 7 plus 5 plus 3 is 15. And then I'm going to check this row across to make sure that also equals 15. 8 plus 3 plus 4 is also 15. So I've checked all my rows. I know these are all correct. Checked all my columns. I know those are correct. I've got 1 diagonal here, so I need to check this other diagonal to make sure it adds up to 15. So 8 plus 5 plus 2 is 15, so that one's also checked. And then it also said that we could only use the numbers 1 through 9 1 time each. So I'm going to go through and make sure that I used all the numbers and they're only in there once. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I know my magic number puzzle is complete. So looking on the next slide, we're going to start connecting this to some things that you would actually see in real world. So many times we need to look at sets of numbers and analyze how they are related to one another, kind of similar to what we just did in this magic square. So using a table is very helpful to organize information that is given to us. So let's start with this information on this slide. So the Summer Camp for Kids staff is planning an outdoor activity for the campers to do on rainy days. They are considering Legos and finger painting activities. They send out a survey to all the kids who will be coming to the camp to find out their preferences. And the information gets organized in this table. So you can see in this table we have Legos and we have painting. We have then broken those numbers down between boys and girls so that we can see how many boys and girls each one have Legos and painting. And then we have 2 different areas that are totals. So a table like this is called a two-way frequency table. This two-way table is comparing 2 different pieces of data. It's comparing boys and girls, and it's comparing the activities that they are choosing, Legos and painting. So looking at all this information, we're going to go down here and we're going to identify and be able to answer some questions about this table. So question number 1 here says, how many boys preferred Legos? So if I look at my table, I'm looking for where the boys and the Legos meet. So here's all my boys. Then I'm going to look for all my Legos, which is right here. So the box where they both meet is this box right here, the 37. You'll notice the emoji there is a smiley face, so that matches that as well. The next one is going to ask us how many girls prefer Legos. So again, I'm going to use two colors. I'm looking for girls and I'm looking for Legos. So where those two colors meet is right here at the 26. We have the thumbs up emoji, which is right here. So the answer to that is 26. The next question asks us how many campers preferred painting. So we're going to look at the painting column, which is right here. And since I'm looking at how many campers, I'm not looking at boys or girls specifically, but I'm looking at the total number. So I'm going to look down here. So then where those meet is right here, the 22. So there's 22 campers. That's the little green glob emoji. So there's 22 people that preferred painting. Then how many girls responded to the survey? So again, we're going to look at girls. And I'm looking for the total number that responded to the survey. So I'm going to look at the total here. And I'm going to notice that there was 40 that responded to the survey. So you got the little quarantine guy there with this thumbs up. So that matches this emoji right here. And then when we're looking at the total number of campers that responded to the survey, that's where the two totals come together. So when we look at this, we have a total column here, or a total row here, and a total column over here, and both of them meet together at this 85, where that emoji is. So when I look at this, I should have a total of 85 boys and girls, and 85 different people that have chosen an activity. So if I take a look at this, I had 45 boys and 40 girls, which gave me a total of 85. I had 63 that picked Legos and 22 that picked painting together, which also make a total of 85. So I know that there was 85 people or campers that responded to this survey, and again, that's that little emoji right there. So now we're going to go ahead and try doing this frequency table. So you're going to go ahead and we're going to try to fill in these boxes just like we did with the magic puzzle. So the Math Club is going to sell candy as a fundraiser. They surveyed 80 students, so I'm going to take that number into consideration, about their favorite candy. The results are shown in the two-way table. Fill in the missing information. So since I know there's 80 students, make sure again that you're typing these in the box because it will tell you if it is right or wrong. There was a total of 80, which will always go in that bottom corner right there. So if I look at this, since there has to be 80 students, the first thing I can do is I can figure out the number of boys by looking at this column because I know that there has to be a total of 80. So I'm going to do 80 minus 43, which is 37. So there's 37 boys. I'm going to look for any other rows or columns that would work to make sure that I can find a missing piece here. Since I know I have a total of 37 boys, I now can figure out the number that picked lollipops is 19, so I can figure out the number that picked peanut butter cups. So here, since I have a total of 37 boys, if I subtract that 19 out, I know that I have 18 boys that chose peanut butter cups, so I would type an 18 into that box. From there, I know that I had a total of 35 people that chose peanut butter cups, and I know 18 of them were boys, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to figure out the number of girls by subtracting 35 minus 18, which is 17. And I can check because 17 plus 18 does equal 35. I then have to figure out the number of girls that chose lollipops, or I can figure out the total number of people that chose lollipops. I'm going to choose to work with this bottom row because the numbers look a little bit easier to me. So this bottom row here, it says we have a total of 80. I'm going to subtract the 35 that chose peanut butter cups to figure out that there is 45 total that chose lollipops, and I can check that 45 plus 35 is 80. And then here, I'm going to be able to figure out the total number of girls, because, or the total number of girls, since the total was 45, 19 of those were boys. So I know that I have a total of 26, and 26 plus 19 is 45. I also can check across those individual rows. If I check 26 plus 17, that does equal 43. If I check 19 plus 18, it equals 37. If I check 45 plus 35, it equals 80. Now I'm going to check the columns and make sure those work. 19 plus 26 equals 45. 18 plus 17 equals 35. And 37 plus 43 equals 80. So all of my rows and columns add up correctly. So now I'm going to answer these 3 questions about the table. The first question asks you to figure out how many boys like peanut butter cups. So I'm going to find the boys column, or the boys row, and the peanut butter cup column, and I'm going to see where they intersect. They intersect right here. So there are 18 boys that like peanut butter cups. To find the total number of people that took the survey, I'm going to look in the corner right here, because that's always where our total is. There was 80 people that took the survey. And finally, the last one, which can be the trickiest of all of them, says, of the boys, how many like lollipops? So when it says of the boys, I'm only looking at the boys row here. How many of those boys like lollipops? Well, that's 19, because I'm only looking at the boys. So now you should, on your own, type in the boxes here on slide 8, and then answer the questions for all of these tables. When you are finished with that, you should log into Dreambox and try to play that for approximately 15 minutes, depending on how much time you have left. Remember that if you have any questions, you can certainly ask them on the last slide, on slide 10, or you can send an email to your teacher.